This is the group chat. In a world that focuses on the individual, we live life in groups. The group chat is meant to spark meaningful conversations about meaningful topics. We think in community, talk in community, and thrive in community. Welcome to the group chat. Yo, 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 what's up, chaps? It is Telos here.
And HB.
And Grant.
And this is the group chat where we have meaningful conversations about meaningful topics.
Chaps.
Chaps.
Think of
Interesting.
chapstick.
I think of like leather chaps.
I think of British people.
Well, that's actually the one that we were thinking of.
Yeah.
So that's right. Have you ever called anybody a chap
No.
before? Why'd you answer that so like rude?
Why would I have ever called someone that?
I don't know your whole life.
All right. Okay.
Did you never pretend to be like a British person?
Nope.
Huh.
You do
What?
this often.
Do I do
oh
this
gosh,
often?
now he's not going to get out of this.
Often.
Often? What are you talking about?
Both of them.
Watch this. I wonder who will be able to do the entire podcast with an accent.
Please, can
What
we
accent
not?
could you do?
I don't
Hannah.
do accents.
Hannah Beth. Hannah Beth.
Hannah Beth.
What accent? If you had to do an accent right now for $1 million, what would it be?
Probably a southern one.
If you had to do an accent for $1 million that wasn't any American, what would it be?
I don't think southern is an American one.
Please take that back.
What else?
What are you
what else
talking
would it,
about?
What else
Still,
would it
like,
be?
When someone says an American accent, I don't think a southern accent.
What part of the world is a southern
Well,
accent? Can you please
I
tell me?
understand that, but do you know what when I say that, like when I go to travel somewhere, I'm in Africa.
Sure.
And I am talking.
Okay.
They don't think, oh, that's a southern accent. They think it's more of maybe like an American one. But when we're in America, I don't think that people think I have an American accent. It's more of a
I
southern
didn't
one.
really follow that too much. I'm not gonna lie.
Very
I
confused.
couldn't follow. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt, though. I'll say that I know what you meant,
Okay.
even though I didn't know what you meant.
Well, I feel in my head an American accent is just like you don't have an accent. It's very like normal.
Right. I guess I was saying like Southern comes from
Yes, I understand this.
America. So
I
like
understand
no
that.
other. Yeah. So so when people are like if somebody talks like this and they're like, howdy y'all, ain't nobody gonna be like, are you from Ireland? Ain't nobody gonna be like, Russia? Is that
Okay,
the southern part of
yes.
Russia? They're gonna be like, you're from southern United States of America.
Okay. I
Anyway,
understand.
nevertheless,
agree.
I do have a question for you guys, though.
Oh Lord.
Here's my fun question for you guys. If you could only take one mode of transportation for the rest of your life, what mode of transportation would that be? Like,
Heelys. No questions. No further questions. Podcast
you
done.
Grant, we could do that for you right now. We could make that happen. I'm sure they're on Amazon Prime.
yo, he said that so quick. They're in his cart.
Heelys.
They're in his cart.
They're
right
in my
now.
closet right now.
Saved for later.
Exactly. Yo, but those things were revolutionary.
I never had Heelys.
No.
No, I made fun
Oh.
of you and my brother and Grant.
Oh
did you have them?
jeez. I think I had them I wanted to be like you and John, so I think I had them, but
Who didn't at our age?
oh, okay.
Who
I
didn't
take it
wanna
back.
be like
I take
us?
it back.
You know, I was at
Never
the
mind.
airport the other day and I saw like this girl zoomed past me and she was in them. I don't know
On
if
Heelys?
I don't know if they were the Heelys brand, but they were Heelys nonetheless. She was zooming in and out of people. People were like, "What's going on?"
Like, how did you? What? Okay. Like a revolutionary shoe. Amazing. I loved it so much.
Huh?
So if you,
Revolutionary.
absolutely. I was trying to move on, but you brought me back. Absolutely, a revolutionary shoe.
Okay.
What is a more iconic, world-changing shoe than a Heeley?
I don't know,
I know. Neither do I.
but I feel like I would have had them if they were that revolutionary, and I did not.
You were anti.
No, I wasn't.
You did not join the gang just because you thought what they were weird,
Well,
lame.
I remember they got like banned in high school and middle school. Like you couldn't be like running through the hallways.
That's because you would like scuff up the floors for real. I remember
Exactly.
one time we went down a hill at
Picking up
Dominion High School.
speed.
Oh, just picking up speed. Yes, you do. I can't believe we did this, bro. We should. I'm really surprised we didn't break anything. But you be going downhill. But the way you stop in Heelys, in case you don't know, like it's a wheel in the heel of your shoe.
That folds into the.
No, you take it out. You can take it out, and then you can put a flat space in it, so it's a normal
I thought
shoe.
It folded into it.
No, like I wonder if those are made, but some of them literally you could take it out. Maybe you could fold it in too. But anyway, you would go down. We went down this hill at Dominion High School in the parking lot, and when you went down the hill, the way you brake is like imagine this is your heel. The wheel is right here, and you're going, and you have to put your heel down, and so your heel. It's like a scooter, like a racer scooter.
Just
burning rubber.
Yeah,
literally. So when you got down the bottom hill, your shoe was red because it was about to catch fire. I'm not kidding. Like
what color were the soles?
White.
Oh, okay.
So you would literally go down the hill and brake with the heel of your shoe, and it would be orange and red by the time you're done because that thing was about to catch fire.
Wow.
I can't believe we wore those.
That
was so
insane.
fun.
How many accidents do you think people got in because of Heelys?
Yes.
End up in the ER.
But think
All
about it.
of them.
How many smiles do you think were because of Heelys?
You
Might be
know,
worth it.
You probably had more smiles than frowns.
Surprise, 100%. I would bet. So if you could take one mode of transportation, you can't take anything else. If you pick a car, never train, never boat, never plane, never bicycle.
Okay, so like if I have to go to the bathroom right now.
No. You can walk.
You don't lose
You
your
may
legs
walk.
in this question.
You may walk. A mode of transport, a vehicle.
Okay.
There we go. I have to say a car. Like, yes, I know that limits me internationally, but you're telling me that I can't go to work unless I walk?
Hop on a plane?
Yeah, hop on a plane to work? No.
A helicopter?
Impossible.
Yeah, I think I have to choose car.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
But you give up international travel unless you swim the Atlantic.
I could drive my car onto a boat and go across the ocean.
I think that's cheating, though.
It's cheating.
I'm still in the car. My
said
mode
if you
of
could only use
transportation.
if you could only use one vehicle of transportation for the rest of your life, you'd
What if I
pick the car?
don't stop driving on the boat? And if I'm just going in circles?
You don't have enough gas for that, sweetheart.
You're right.
You're going to run out.
Okay. I think I'd still have to choose a car, though.
I think so, too. You have Canada and Mexico and South America. Yeah, we're all connected. Yep, in South America.
Where's our map?
I know, right? Yeah. No, I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Heelys.
that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I have a topic for us today, and can I get a good old HB drum roll real quick?
Actually, I can't do that because I have a mic today.
Your best one yet.
That was so sad. That was
Your best
so
one yet.
I
What-
think because we have Grant on, I should not have to do that when Grant's on.
Yeah.
What? Why? What does that have to do with the drum roll?
It's a great question.
Does my presence not permit
What does
drum
it have
rolls
to do with the
anymore?
drum
Why
roll?
can't Grant do the drum roll?
Because I'm not HB.
Ooh, whoa.
Who invited him? I feel like you're teaming up against me right now.
Brothers, unite! Light skin powers. Anyway, moving past that.
Lord.
Okay, so it's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay.
Calm down. Okay. What we're talking about today is loneliness.
Oh.
Not Heelys.
Not.
Far from
I
Heelys.
am so lonely.
Keep going.
I don't know the rest.
You know, I have nobody
To answer
to
to?
call my own.
Just like
Lonely.
that.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you know
See
that
Rain
song?
Dread?
I
Who
do know
sings
that,
that?
song.
Akon.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if he maybe he sampled it, but that's where it's
Okay,
from.
got it.
Anyway, we're talking about loneliness. By your reactions, you guys did not seem very excited from this topic. Have you ever?
It's a sad topic, I feel like.
But that's why we need to talk
Yes,
about
I
it.
love talking about loneliness. It's my favorite.
We're having meaningful conversations about meaningful topics. A lot of people in the world are lonely.
You're right.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I would.
I don't have a stat, but I'm going to say at least 79% of the world is lonely.
Okay.
But after this year,
Yeah.
right? People have not been around people for a long time.
Mm.
Have you ever experienced a season of loneliness? Just a period in your life where you're like, lonely, I am so lonely.
I feel like with the amount of Drake I listen to, I'd be lying if I said no. So, yes.
So your loneliness is
My
self-imposed.
loneliness is self-inflicted, and I think I need prayer. But it's okay.
We can make that happen. We can make that
We'll
happen.
circle back at the end of this podcast.
Exactly. Because for me, like, there aren't a lot of times when I've been straight up like lonely. I think I credit that, to be honest, to not much of like my doing. Like, I'm a very great person and I always have people and I'm like really confident. Like, I don't think that's true. No, I'm saying that's not.
Oh. I was like, no,
I
keep
was
going.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
No, I'm saying I don't. I'd like.
Do you want a high five? A hug? A pat on the back?
I was,
A thumbs up?
all of the above, please. No, I'm saying not that. I'm like,
Okay.
yeah. Because like I felt like I was born into a lot of community, to be honest. Like, it's not my doing, is what I was kind of getting at before you guys made fun of me. But one time I did feel like a season of loneliness in like spurts, in moments. And I feel like it's the time of life that at least you and I always talk about. Maybe you've experienced it too, but it was in college for me. And specifically my freshman year, because I went to a super liberal college where everybody was doing everything. And I'm not saying my college was like any quote unquote worse than anybody else's.
Yeah.
But it was definitely different for me. So when I went into it, like, I kind of had an idea of what to expect, but I wasn't like emotionally prepared for what that really meant for me. So practically it just looked like a lot of lonely nights for me where I was like alone. I'm not saying alone means lonely, which is something I think we can talk about.
Yeah.
But for me, that's what it was in that moment, that everyone else was doing things and it was self-inflicted for me. I chose not to. But because I didn't feel like I was welcomed in those places and that those were places that I was, that I should be, for me, it was more so like kind of like FOMO, missing out. And so it was kind of self-inflicted, but nevertheless, like, that was kind of like my portion as I was lonely freshman year of college.
Yeah. I think for me, it was like the end of freshman year. That was like when I rededicated my life to the Lord, and I did not know like any other believers. And so that was just a season of like, okay, I know I can't be with the crowd, or I shouldn't be with the crowd that I've been with for the past 9-10 months. And just because they were just poor influences on my life. And so like that whole like, okay, what does it look like to build community? I don't have that right now. And it was just like a lonely time, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I have never, I wouldn't say never.
I feel like I've never felt lonely in my life.
No. I feel like what I was gonna say, I feel like I have never been, or at least probably once in my life for sure, but most of the time I'm not like in a season of loneliness.
Yeah.
I just like feel lonely like throughout. Yeah, like nights when I'm listening to Drake.
For sure. Yeah.
Or like no, like I'll just like feel just feel very lonely like every once in a while.
Right.
And it's not really like long periods of time. Like I've definitely gone through long periods of time where I'm like, wow, I'm lonely. I wish I had like an uplifting community. I wish I had all these cool friends. But like I feel like most of it comes from just like nights I'm up and I'm like, I'm lonely.
Yeah. With that, like kind of like this self-inflicted loneliness where we either encourage it or lengthen it through our actions. Do you think there are things that we do that encourage or strengthen or lengthen loneliness in our lives?
Yeah.
No.
Next question.
I'm just kidding. I know. Right?
Yes. Heelys, period.
You never had them. How would you know?
No, I think definitely. Like we've all talked about like community and that. And so like when you're not even trying to build community, it's like, okay, well,
right.
You're bringing this upon yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Grant talked about music, and I think that we've talked about music on here before, of just like how that can like put you in a mood.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And those lyrics, man, Drake,
they gonna hit you.
Yeah. But no, I definitely think you can bring it upon yourself to make it last longer.
Yeah. And it's almost like, when you get in a feeling and you don't, or maybe you don't know, but like I've had moments in my life where I've gotten in a certain feeling or emotional state and I'm there so much that I don't even want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm hurt, but I don't even necessarily want to be unhurt yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're just still feeding yourself.
Exactly.
Whatever it is.
And so sometimes I think we can be lonely and be like, I'm not done being lonely yet.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people have, and like there's all of the, I understand like it's a real issue,
Sure.
I'm not like downplaying that, but I think sometimes people are like, yeah, I'm lonely for attention. And
Sure.
so they realize, I'm getting attention when I say I'm lonely, when I post on TikTok, my Instagram story, like whatever it is, like,
right.
lonely tonight, another lonely night, like whatever it is. And then they get attention from that. And so they are
people
then
swiping up and DMing, are you okay, girl? Are you, bro,
Facts.
you're good.
Yeah.
And so they're like getting that attention. And so then therefore it's like, oh, well, I'll be in this constant state.
Right.
And not leave.
Yeah.
And even try to leave.
Yeah. It's like a bait. It's like you're baiting attention.
Yeah.
But then the issue is that like what you do for attention, you have to keep doing it for attention. And so if you need to bait people to give you attention with your loneliness, or even with like your expression of your sadness or emotions, or you're really late one Friday night and you post on your story, oh my gosh, like really struggling right now. And then that's how you get your attention. It's like, yeah, it might feel good for a second, but then at the end of the day, at least for me, at the end of the day, it's like, that's not sustainable.
Oh, no.
Those people don't stick around.
Yeah.
It's like they swipe up and message you because there was a moment and they felt bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like absolutely what you talk about, like, by no means is that the majority. Like I don't think everybody who's lonely is seeking it for attention.
Yeah.
I actually read a stat just now. Did you ever thought about that?
Kind of just like what you guys said. Like it's very easy to just get comfortable in those bad feelings.
Yeah.
Like not want, like as you said, basically like not be ready to get out of it, really, or not feel like you're ready at least.
Right.
Like you want to continue the cycle because the cycle feels good, even if you don't enjoy the overarching feeling of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's like you may begin to feel like, oh, this is the fullness of that, of loneliness. And so then you almost, if that's all you're feeding yourself, then you forget the fullness of community. You forget the fullness of life in general.
Yeah.
And so, it's just like this cycle.
And it can start with a little thing too. Like it can start so easily with, I listened to Heartbreak Anniversary, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, like now I'm thinking about my ex. Yeah. And because you didn't catch it, because you're not like we're not taking inventory of all of our thoughts, and we're not like checking like, is this something that I should continue to feed the feeling of? Because it's like as simple as like the Bible uses so many different illustrations for life, but one of them they always use is like seeds and growth and fruit and agriculture and things like that. And it's so simple that essentially like what the scriptures constantly say over and over again is that what you water grows. And so if you're watering your loneliness with more songs, with more self-depreciating mindsets, more posts on Instagram, all of a sudden that little thing I think can turn into a mindset in a season of actually loneliness.
Yeah. And I also feel like it's really a lot about like people you surround yourself with can make you feel lonelier depending on how they are. So like if they're not like mentally and emotionally healthy and they're all like lonely, then you're going to be like, oh yeah, I should be like that
just
too.
A big
like,
bag of lonely people.
It's just a bag of lonely friends who don't help each other.
Depressing. That's
like
so
misery
sad.
loves company though.
Yeah.
Like you get around somebody and then because you feel the same way that they feel, you're like, oh, it's valid.
But that's
it's encouraged.
Like also it can go the opposite direction of
Absolutely.
People who are happy all the time, or whatever, but just like excited, encouraging, like that can rub off on you as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Do you think it's okay to feel lonely?
I think it is.
Yes. Yes.
Grant with the quick answers.
I think so.
Oh, got a brain turning because like I'm trying to figure out what's the negative, right? So like what is the reason why it's not okay to feel lonely if that's true? it seems like we all agree. I would agree with the same thing. I think it's okay to feel lonely sometimes. So much of it, I think, is really what you do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that you have it,
I'm not going to sit in it for the rest of my life, or even, you know, maybe it's like, okay, I'm going to sit in this for a minute, but like I'm going to get out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to call someone. But I think that all comes down to like being self-aware of like, oh, I'm in this place. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
What am I what got me here? Why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
And that just takes like some maturity at the end of the day to like ask yourself those questions, and then be okay to sit in that for a minute of like uncomfortableness.
Yeah, you have to be cool with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Totally agree. That, and I think about like the scripture says like weep with those who weep and rejoice with those who rejoice. And the Bible doesn't say like encourage, like make those happy, those that weep, or make sure those that are weeping stop weeping. It says you weep with them.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking like it can't be inherently bad to be sad. It can't be inherently bad to cry. It can't be inherently bad to be lonely.
Yeah.
To have these emotions.
Yeah.
To feel hurt. The Bible asks us to be with those people, have a presence in their life, empathize with them, be with them in those seasons of life. And then in that, I think there's so much support in moving forward from that season that you weren't. I don't think we were made to be lonely.
No,
I know we weren't.
No, we weren't.
We think. You think about Genesis, like literally the first thing that God says is not good is that man is what? Alone. So it's like, yes, it's okay to be lonely, but it's not good to be alone.
So what's the difference?
Great question. I think the difference between being lonely is actually the difference in like sitting and accepting, living in, encouraging, and like stewing in that thing. So like the feeling of loneliness that I had in college was not a result of like sin or a bad choice or me feeding something that was negative. That result of feeling lonely was actually a good decision that I wasn't going to go party. And so that was my conviction that I felt like God gave me to do, is to not do X, Y, and Z when I went to school. And so that feeling of loneliness wasn't bad because I knew that I was doing it for a reason that was supposed to honor God. Yeah. Now, if I was lonely in terms of like what I feel like God was telling to Adam is that I was not surrounded by people who can help me. Because what was Eve made to do? Eve was made to be a helper. And so like we are supposed to help each other. Yeah. And so I feel like the reason that it's not good to be alone is that you have nobody to help you. It says in the scriptures that I think it's in Proverbs, pity the man who falls and has no one to pick him up, but blessed is the man who falls and has friends or something like that. And it's essentially speaking about like, it is a tragedy when you feel bad, when you fall, and when you're hurt and you're all alone. Yeah. But it's not a tragedy when you feel bad, you're hurt, and you have somebody with you. Yeah. And that's why I think it's okay to feel lonely, to feel sad, feel hurt, but not be that way.
Be that way and stay in that. Yeah.
I just read a statistic that said 60% of Americans said that they feel lonely. That was in 2020. Yeah. So maybe it went up, right? Yeah. So I don't know if that's regular. Yeah. But nevertheless, 60% of Americans said that they feel lonely sometimes. What do you think is a big reason? Or I guess here's a better question. One of the reasons that they said that people feel lonely is one of the reasons they feel misunderstood. So we've been talking about like people and community. What do you think that misunderstanding has to do with like loneliness? Like no one understands me. Why do you think that makes people feel lonely?
Yeah. I think of times in my life where I felt misunderstood and I did not feel lonely. So that's interesting. But yeah, I think it's like, oh, I'm the only one. And they take that, okay, if I'm talking to you, whatever, I'm sharing with you, you don't understand me. Yeah. Then I take what you saying as you don't understand me as like Bible almost. And so therefore I'm like, oh, well then no one understands me. And so then therefore it's like you just crawl back in a hole kind of thing and I'm by myself. I'm the only one. Yeah. And that lie of I am the only one. And I feel like that kind of hits on like being alone and then also being lonely. Yeah. Because like, oh, I'm the only one, so I'm alone in this, and now I go into this lonely state, this lonely state of mind.
Yeah, I think like a lot of I think a lot of like the aspects of being misunderstood is like I felt very misunderstood and lonely because of that, because for a long period of my life, like I didn't really have friends that did share my faith and like encourage me. So I was like, oh, these people don't get the most important thing in my life. So I feel like I'm alone in this battle, and I feel like I'm alone in this life.
Sure.
And that made me feel like very, very lonely, because I was like, oh man, like I'm when I say it out loud, it almost sounds like arrogant, but I'm like, I'm the only one who gets it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just, I think misunderstanding can very easily lead to loneliness, though it's not always led to it.
Yeah. I think it has totally what y'all are talking about. Like, it has something to do with, and I think that's why people can feel lonely even when they have friends, and even when they're surrounded by people, is because that connection is what makes somebody feel understood and not lonely. But and that connection can be from the absence of people or the presence of people and the absence of understanding. Like, I can be with you and not feel connected to you, therefore I'm lonely. Yeah. And so I think like that connection and feeling understood and like you have a place there definitely leads to either feelings of, what's the opposite of loneliness? Like, I don't even know. I'm trying to figure, like, can lead you to a place of loneliness if you don't have connection. But if you do have connection, it leads you to a place of feeling like you belong. Yeah. I guess.
Belonging. Yeah. Fulfilled.
Which is an interesting thought. That, like, what is the opposite of loneliness? Which is a crazy question because we only have 2 minutes left in the podcast, which, like, we can't discover. But I'm like, maybe the opposite. I don't know. For me, and maybe here's the last question, Wendell. What for you is the opposite of loneliness?
When I feel lonely, I generally feel very empty with it, and I don't feel like, I think the absence of people and support and whatever else loneliness entails, I feel very like not full. So I guess fulfilled would be my opposite.
I think. He said, I think.
Maybe.
When I think of lonely, I think, I mean, look, we've talked about this, but like, I think of like, I'm by myself. And so like for me, just in my life, it's been like, oh, I've been alone also when I was also lonely. Right. And so I think of like community, like social kind of thing. But that's just because that's for me personally.
Right. Yeah. I think for me probably was what I kind of talked my way into was probably belonging for me, feeling like you have a place somewhere that you, not that you're just not just that you're wanted, but like there's a seat for you.
Yeah, you're cared for. No.
Yeah. So that would probably be the opposite of loneliness for me, is when I feel like I'm really known. Like there's a seat for me. Yeah. Like I belong there. Yeah. Probably.
With or without Heelys?
With Heelys. No further questions.
No further questions, please. I'm going to get you a pair of Heelys.
Please do.
I don't know if they come in your size.
Me?
You. I'm looking at you, girl. No, I'm looking at you.
Okay. I'll get myself a pair of Heelys then. Okay, whatever.
He said, I'm the one that wants them.
I didn't want you to buy them anyway.
He said, my birthday just passed anyway. Jerk. You didn't even get me. I did get you something.
You got me an Alexa. I'm very grateful.
I did, and a great book. Did you read that book?
Fantastic book. Not all of it.
Wow. I got him a book for his birthday. It was great, and he didn't even read it. Man. Wow. It's a great book. Oops. Oh, baby. You guys have any more thoughts?
Not at all.
No.
Here comes the accent.
The heck is that?
I don't know where you're from.
Not at all.
What kind of accent is that?
I
don't even know what you're doing.
You don't sound confident either.
No, you don't.
Okay, let's get
all right, before this gets any worse, this is the group chat where we have meaningful conversations about meaningful topics. My name is Telos.
I'm HB.
I'm Grant.
special. All right,
There we go.
Grant. All right, Grant. Well, everybody, we hope you guys have conversations about this wherever you are, talking about loneliness. And I know that this one can kind of be difficult to have a conversation with somebody if you are feeling lonely. So what we want to do is we want to make ourselves available to you. If you do want to talk about loneliness, all you have to do is text HB. Her number is 7. No, I'm playing. What you can do is you can email us or email. What the heck?
Email.
We don't email it. Just DM us.
DM us.
DM us is the easiest thing.
On Insta.
Do it. And the reason is because this is the group chat, y'all, where we think in community, talk in community, and thrive in community.
Thrive in community.
There it is, Grant. Just a little bit late, but you did great.
Nonetheless, we're here.
Awesome. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Bye.